Hello everyone, Ismail is here. Today we're going to start 11.3, finding complex solutions of a quadratic equations. You can find all the lessons on my website alfaramath.com. Now let's start with the lesson. Complex solution of a quadratic equation, it's easy. It's similar to just solving a normal quadratic equation, but there will be some quadratic, you will have some complex solutions. Now let's start with this one, up questions. First, if I have this binomial minus this binomial. So to minus the binomial from each other, first let's distribute the negative for this one. So first let's rewrite the first one, negative 3, negative 8, negative 3i, minus will be plus. Now change the sign for every term. So it will be positive 9 and it will be positive 5i. Now just add the numbers, add the like term together. So as you can see here, we have negative 3i, we have positive 5i, and we have negative 8 and positive 9. So now let's negative 8 plus 9 is equal 1. Then negative 3i with positive 5i is equal positive 2i. So the answer is this, 1 plus 2i. Now the other one here, we need to use distributive property. So 7 times 6, which is 42. Then 7 times negative 9 is negative 7. Sorry, not 7, sorry. Negative 63, 63i. Then I times 6 is equal positive 6i. Then I times negative I, which is equal negative 9i squared. Now let's add the like term. So we have 6i's, negative 63i together. Now let's simplify 42, negative 50, 57i minus 9i squared. Now, if you look to this one, so this is just a warm-up questions from 11.2 about how we can simplifying this. Now, let's start with our lessons, solving the complex quadratic equations. Now, first thing you need to do, steps to solve a quadratic equation by complex square. For this one, how can I do complete square? We know that complete square should be written as ax squared plus bx, and we take c to the other side, so it will be here negative c, right? Then I have to add the number here and number here plus this one plus this one. Then I can simplify this one with a number, and this one can be factored. Then I take square root. So this is what we did in the previous. So the same thing here. First step, add out c to both sides. So now we take c to the other side, so it will be negative c. Number two, if a is not 1, then make it 1 by dividing everything by a. So example, if let's say I have 2x squared plus 6x plus 16, so you have to divide by 2 for every term, so you can make a is equal what? Is equal 1. So that's the first step. Then, after that, you have to now may take the half of b over a, which is square, then which means we need to find c by using the rule c. So c is equal b squared over 4a squared. Some students ask me, teacher, do I use this formula or I use this formula here? I will tell you what, this one here, this formula, it's similar to this formula. Why? Because the property of distributing the power. So b will take the power, and 2 will take the power, and a will take the power, and all of these. So b to the power of 2, 2 to the power of 2, 4, and a to the power of 2, a to the power of 2. Then factor and solve. Now let's start doing the complete square for this question. So as you can see in this question here, complete a square. First, let's find c. So let's take the negative 2 to the other side. So it will be x squared plus 8x equal positive 2. Okay, positive 2. Now let's find c. So c is equal what? b squared over 4a. So now what's b? B is what? This is b. So b and a is what? A is 1. So this is a. So b is 8 squared over 4 times 1. So 8 squared is equal 64 over 4 times 1 is equal 4. Now 64 divided by 4, which is equal 60. So this is the answer. Now, what we need to do with this 16, I have to add 16 here. So here I have to add plus 16 for both sides, and here plus 16. So this is what you can see here. Plus 16 here, plus 16 on both sides. Now, 2 plus 16 is equal 16. Sorry, not 16. This one should be 18. Sorry. 2 plus 16 is equal 18. Okay? This one should be 18. Then how can I factor this one here? I told you we take the square root of 16 and the square root of x, or not square root of x, I can distribute that. So x is equal, what's the square root of 16? It's 4. So x plus 4 to the power of 2 equal 80. Now what I have to do to remove the square, I have to take square root for both sides. So a square will cancel the square root. So x plus 4 is equal positive negative 18. Now what are the factors of 18? What are the factors of 18? We have the factors of 18, 2 and 9. Okay. So do we have a square root of 9 or square root of 18? So square root of 9 is, could be what? A 3. So the answer is the 3 square root of 2. So 3 square root of 2, that's what we can find here. And don't forget that we have positive 4. So it will be negative 4 for both sides, negative 4, negative 4. So it will be the answer negative 4 positive negative square root 3 square root of 2. Now let's simplify the other question here. So first step, we need to rewrite it, rearrange it in order x squared plus bx equal c. So now if you look here, this is a, this is b, this is c. So what I have to do with this one, I have to take it to the other side. So now let's rewrite the question. 3x squared plus 9x equal. So it will be positive 4 for both sides. So these cancel out. So 2 plus 4 is equal 6. Now let's do complete square. So complete square, let's find c. So c is equal b squared over 4a. B squared is what? Is 9. So 9 squared over 4 times A. A is what? Is equal 3. Now, if you ask me, teacher, this is a big number. So what can I do? I will tell you what. Look to the A. Is A equal 1? Is A equal 1? No, A is not 1. A is equal to 3. And I told you here, if A is not 1, then what I have, make it 1. How? By dividing everything by what? By A. So now let's go here back and erase A here and erase before the step C. I have to do what? I have to divide by A. So now let's divide by A. Okay, A here is equal what? 3. Divide by 3, divide by 3, divide by 3. So now 3 divided by 3 is equal x squared, so 1. 9x divided by 3 is equal 3x. Now 6 divided by 3 is equal 2. Now make the complete square. So let's find c. So c is equal b squared over 4a, which is equal be 3 squared over 4 times 1. So 3 squared is equal 9. 4 times 1 is 4. 9 over 4. So 9 over 4, it's a decimal number. So don't write decimals. We don't need decimals. Don't write, okay, don't write decimals. We don't need decimals. So let's keep it 9 over 4. Now let's add 9 over 4 for both sides. So now let's rewrite the question. X squared plus 3x and here equal 2 plus 9 over 4, 9 over 4 plus 9 over 4 plus 9 over 4. So if you need, if you need to add the numbers to make it easier too, if you can add the fraction, okay, it's fine. Convert it to decimals, which is 9 over 4 is equal 2.25. 2.25. So 9 over 4, it's 2.25. If you want, you can write it. If you don't want, don't write it. And I'm preferring to not write the answer. Now, let's simplify this one. So 2 plus 2.4, 2 plus 9 over 4, which is equal 17 over 4. Now, maybe some of you ask me, teacher, how did you get 17 over 4? I will tell you why. Now, 2 plus 9 over 4. So we consider this one is over what? Over 1. So now I have make the denominator same. So to make this one, so I have to multiply this one by 4 to multiply this one by 4. So it will be 8 over 4 plus 9 over 4. So do I have now common denominator? Yes. So it will be one denominator, which is 4. 8 plus 9 is equal 17. So this is how I get 17 over 4. Now, let's factor the other part, which is first, to factor this one, I have to open a bracket with a square root. So now here is x. What's the sign of b? It's positive. So I have right positive. Now, what's the square root of 9 over 4? Some of you now will ask me, teacher, I don't know what's the square root of 9 over 4. I will tell you, don't worry, don't scare. Now, how we can find the square root 9 over 4? Distribute the square root, which means square root of 9 over 4, it should be square root of 9, square root of 4. So what's the square root of 9 is 3. What's square root of 4 is 2. So the square root now is 9 over 4 is equal what? 3 over 2. See how it's easy? So don't just say, check, it's a fraction, it's hard for question, I don't know how to do it, teacher. No, it's easy, but you have to find the square root for the numbers. Now, let's simplify this one more. Now, I will ask you how we can simplify this. So to simplify this one, I have to take square root for both sides. So take a square root for both sides, square root for this side, square root for this side. So cancel the square with the square root. So x plus 3 over 2 is equal. What is square root 17 over 4? So it will be plus negative square root of 17 over 4. Now take 3 over 2 to the other side. Okay. So now take take 3 over 2 to the other side here. So it will be now x is equal 3 over 2 positive. Oh, sorry. Keep the positive negative in front. Positive, negative. Sorry. Positive, negative square root of 17. Why this one is not writing? 17 over 4. Can we distribute the square root for 17 and 4? Yes, I can distribute the 7. So now let's distribute the negative. So now if I distribute the negative here, so 17 over square root of 4. So it will be what? Square root of 17 over 2. So I can simplify this one to be like this. So now let's rewrite it in the last. 3 over 2 positive negative 17 over 2. Do I have now same denominator? Yes, I have same denominator. Can I combine them? Yes, sorry, don't forget this. Square root of 17 over 2. Can I combine them? Yes, I can combine them by writing them in term of x equal 3 positive negative square root of 17 over 2. So this is the final, the simplest form. Okay, I hope you understand this. Now, let's take one more example. X squared minus 2x plus 7. So take plus 7 to the other side. So it will be x squared minus 2x equal 7. Now let's find c. C b squared over 4a. b squared, which is 2 squared over 4 times 1. So 2 squared is equal 4. Or 4 times 1 is 4. 4 over 4 is equal 1. Now let's add 1 to the both side. So now x squared negative 2x. Sorry. Negative 2x, and here is 7. Now let's add plus 1 here, plus 1 here. Now let's simplify this. So 7 plus 1 is equal 8. And here let's find the square root for this. So now we write x. What's the sign here? It's negative, so I have to write negative. What's the square root of 1? Square root of 1 is 1. Now let's use the square root for both sides. So square root of this, square root of this. So this one will cancel the square root. So x minus 1 equal, what's the square root of 8? So what's the factors of square root of 8? So square root of 8, I have square root of 2 times square root of 4, right? So the square root of 4 can be written as what? 2. So the answer is 2 square root of 2. So now it will be positive, negative 2 square root of 2. Now let's take the minus 1 to the other side. So it will be positive 1, positive 1. So these cancel out. So x is equal 1, positive, negative 2 square root of 2. So that's the final answer. Okay, let's do one more last example to make sure that you understand everything. Now here, if you look to the question, it's already in the form that I need, but a here, a is not 1. A should be equal 1. And I can't divide by 7 like this. Okay, because if I divide by 7, I will have a fraction. Okay, I will tell you something. If you divide by 7, it's correct. It's not wrong. But let's say when we need to simplify this one, we need to pick a common factor that I can divide. If I can't find a common factor, then you have to divide by 7. Let me do it now if I want to divide by 7. And you will see a big fraction, but don't scare. Please don't scare. Follow me step by step. Please focus on this question. Now, first, divide by 7 for everything. Divide by 7, divide by 7, divide by 7. Now 7 with 7 is cancel, so it's remain what? X square positive, okay, 17 over 7, okay, x, then here equal 3 over 7, still 3 over 7. Now, keep it like this. Let's find C. To find C, we use the formula, which is, let me write it here. So C is equal B squared over 4A. So B squared is what? B squared is 17 over 7. So all of that is B squared. So let me write it here. 17 over 7, all of that squared, because all of that is B, over 4A. A is equal 1. So do you see B is what? B is 17 over 7. So I replace B with 17 over 7, then over 4A, which is 4A is 4 times 1. Now let's simplify this one. So how can I simplify this one? Okay, this question, use, use calculator. I will not say to you calculator. I will not tell you to not use your calculator in this type of a question because it's a big number. So I will just ask you to use the calculator. It's fine. So now to simplify this one, so you distribute the 2 for the 70 and distribute it for 7. So it will be now 289 over 49, okay, over 4 times 1. 4 times 1 is equal 4. Now, this answer here is divided by 4, which is equal. So the final answer after you simplify this one is equal 289 over 196. Okay, so now the answer is this one. Now let's add this part here, okay, for both sides. So it will be here plus 289 over 196, here plus 289 over 196. Now, let's simplify the questions. First, let's add this two part together. Okay, so let's add this two part together. Now, 3 over 7 plus 289 over 96, which is equal 3373 over 196. Okay, then the other part, let's factor this part. So we do the x, we write a squared, we write x, then we take the sign of the b, which is positive. Now let's take the square root, okay, the square root for 200, okay, 289 over 196, which is equal 17 over 40. Now, let's use the square root for both sides to simplify this one. Okay, so we use square root for this side, we use a square root for both sides, so we cancel the square root with this one. So x is equal 17, sorry, not equal. The x is plus 17 over 14 equal positive or negative the square root of positive negative square root of 373 over 196. I know that square root of 196 is equal 14, right? So I know 196 is equal 14. So I can split now the square root. Okay, so split the square root 373 over 196. I can split the square root and write 373 over square root of 196, which is equal square root of 373 over 14. So I can simplify this part and write it like this. Square root of 373 over 14. Okay? Now it will, let me change the color. So it will be, and so it will be here, square root of 373 over, okay, over 14, positive, negative. And here, let's take negative 17 over 14 for both sides, negative 17 over 14 for both sides. So now we cancel this 2 out. So x is equal negative 17 over 14. And do I have common denominator? Yes, I have common denominator. So now let me write it here. So x is equal negative 17 positive negative square root of 373 over 40. So this is the final answer. Okay, I hope you understand this one. I see, I know it's complicated, but it's not complicated because you already have the calculator if you follow the steps correctly. Now you have here, I give you one examples. Now try, it's your turn, try to solve these question by yourself. Now recall, with ax squared plus bx plus c, we use the quadratic formula to give us the solution. We know that this part here, we call this one is what? We call this one discriminant. What discriminant to do for us? It's show me how many real solution do I have, or how many non-real solution do I have. So if the discriminant is greater than 0, it's 2 solution. If they are equal to 0, so 1 solution. If it's less than 0, so no. Okay, we know that it's no real solution, right? No real solution. No real solution. I told you no real solutions. That mean I have imaginary solution. So with the imaginary solutions, it has 2 non-real solution. Non-real means imaginary. Okay? So I have 2 non-real solutions. Now let's solve this using quadratic formula. So what's the quadratic formula? Let's identify A, B, and C. A, B, and C. A is equal negative 5. B is equal negative 2. C is equal negative 8. Now first let's find the discriminant. The discriminant is B squared minus 4AC. So B squared, which is negative 2 squared, minus 4 times A, which is negative 5, times C, which is negative 8. Now let's simplify this one. Negative 2 to the power of 2 is equal 4 minus 4 negative 5 times negative 8 is equal what? Is positive 40, right? So positive 40 times 4 is equal what? Is equal 160. So now 4 minus 160 is negative 156. If you look to this one, this is negative. So how many solution? No real solution. But how many imaginary number? Okay, 2 imaginary, okay, solution. Or let's call it none, not imaginary. Let's call it 2 non-real solution or imaginary. Okay, I write it in twice to differentiate. So 2 non-real or imaginary. Now let's do it in the let's apply now the formula. X is equal negative b positive negative the discriminant. What's the discriminant? Negative 156 over 2 times a. Now let's apply. So negative b is what? b is negative 2. So negative, sorry, negative with negative 2, positive negative square root of negative 156 over 2 times a, which is negative 5. Now let's simplify this one. So let me simplify it here. So x is equal, negative with negative 2 is equal, positive 2, positive negative, negative square root of 56. I don't have a square root for 556, I think, right? Yes, I don't have. Now, 2 times negative 5, which is equal negative 10, right? Negative 10. Now, how can I rewrite this one? I told you before the rule said if I have, let me write the rule here, above here. So if I have now positive, negative, a square root of negative number, I can rewrite this one by taking the negative outside the square root and replace it with what? With I. So it will be positive, negative, I square root of 6. So that's what I have to do. Now, what I have to do with the negative 156, so I have to rewrite it 2 positive negative I square root of 156 over negative 10. You can take out the negative here. So this is the answer that I have. Okay. Now, let's simplify the other question. So here, let's do the first, let's rewrite it in term of quadratic. So we take positive 1 for both sides. So we cancel this. So it's 7x squared plus 2x plus 4 equal 0. Now, let's find the discriminant. A is equal 7, B is equal 2, C is equal 4. So now the discriminant b squared minus 4ac. b it's 2 squared minus 4 times a 7 times c 4. Okay? Now 2 to the power of 2 is equal 4 minus 4 times 7 is equal 28. 28, sorry, this one, 28. Now 28 times 4, which is equal 112. Okay? 112 minus 4, 112 minus 4 is equal negative 108. So this one, how many solutions? Two non-real solution. Okay, non-real solution. Now let's apply it on the formula. So x is equal negative b positive negative square root of negative 108 over 2a. Now let's apply the rule. Let's apply the point. So b is equal to. So now the negative from the formula. So negative 2 positive negative. I told you if I have a negative here, I have to take it outside and write what I. So it will be positive negative I square root 108 over 2 times a. 2 times a. A is what? A is 7. Okay, is 7 2 over 7. Now let's simplify the last thing. So now x is equal negative 2 positive negative I square root of 108. Do I have a square root for 108? No, I don't have a square root of 108. Okay, over 2 over 7, which is 14. So this is the final answer. Okay, I hope you understand. This is easy lesson, easy question, just applying on the formula. But just only the thing that you have to understand is this rule here. If I have a negative under the square root, so I have to take the negative outside as I imaginary. Now, you can try solve these questions by yourself. I will give you one example. You can try now solve the four. And if you have any question, please ask me. Have a good day. Bye-bye.